Hi and welcome to my greenhouse. It's now mid-December and everything's looking all a bit sad in the greenhouse. Pretty much all the Sarracenias are now starting to die back, even some of the later ones. The only ones I've actually got still that are producing or still have traps that are really nice. I've got my green Leucophila here, which is quite nice. There is Citacina, who has produced some new growth just before winter. That's the green growth there. The darker red is from about a year ago. Obviously Purpurea still looks really nice. There's all my little ones, my very reds, and a couple of the all green anthracene free ones. And then the only other plant that is still got some nice looking traps on it is my rubra. That's my rubra golfensis, who still has some really nice traps on her. Some do die back, but she keeps a lot of her traps really quite late. But other than that, pretty much everything else now, as you can see here, is dying back. In an earlier video I went through and tidied up a whole load of the pictures. I will probably now leave these ones on because there's still green in here, so I wouldn't be cutting these back, certainly not down to the green. I don't like to cut them back to the ground. There's still plenty of nutrients that the plant can recover from this leaf, and if they've done quite well over the summer, it can possibly even still recover. You know, that one's got flies up to about there somewhere, I can see through the light, and there's still potentially can retrieve some of the nutrients out of those before it starts to die back. Now, I do around this time of year go around and just check all of them. So you sometimes get rotting part way down like this. This is actually okay. I've double checked this. There's no actual mold or anything on this. It's just the plant has died back, or at least if it has molded, it's not progressing any further. So I'm happy to leave that. Most of the top is still sort of semi-alive. This one did the same thing. Again, sometimes they rot when they get a lot of food in them. So this I wouldn't bother doing it with unless actually there's signs of mold or it starts to progress down, so that's fine. Like I say, the rest I will leave now. So there's all these ones here. And then got a load here as well. Some more rubras. And some of the little ones. Again, I've cut some of the ones back, so some of the quite big ones like this, which I think is a Catespii cross, they do die back quite early, some of them, so I've cut a lot of those down. But the rest I've just left, and a lot of the plants now have got their non-carnivorous leaves. So this is a non-carnivorous leaf, so you definitely don't want to be cutting those ones back, because that, again, it's allowing the plant, even with the shortened photo period, it's still allowing the plant to actually photosynthesize. Because even though these things catch insects, that's not really how they generate their energy. That's to get the nutrients, the sort of things like that. And really, they still do photosynthesizing. And so they're just like any other plant in that respect. Back here, we've got the tray of cobra lilies. So again, these are doing really nicely. Some really nice traps on these ones. And they'll stay really beautiful for quite some time, all the way into next summer. Some really nice ones there, and they've darkened up really nicely. A few of the other things that are sort of dying back. My red dragon, Akairu I think it is, Venus flytrap, it's starting to die back a bit, so I might pull off some of these when they get a bit more, they're more able to actually come off. Just take them off, because sometimes you can, these sort of traps can, there you go, that one's just pulled out. Sometimes these traps, because they're quite close to the ground, they can rot and you can get botrytis into the actual bulb, which is the Venus flytrap. Some of the other ones, which have got generally a bit taller, these started to, again, die back. You can see a lot of black leaves in there. And again, at some point I'll go around and just gently pull those off before they start to rot or anything. And a lot of the traps left, they're starting to put up more. It's mostly the taller ones that have died off, but the sort of close to the ground ones, more like the winter traps, are still there. So they're doing okay. I must admit, it hasn't been that cold in the UK this year so far. And I have actually This protection is not for the Venus flytraps or for the carnivorous plants. It's actually for the chilies. But I've still got chilies that are ripening. And we've got a few little seedlings here. We've got quite a few bonatas in here. These have mostly, or pretty much all the bonatas have died back now. They're temperate and they will actually have a resting period in winter. You can keep them in the house if you want to, if you've got enough light. But I tend to just let them do as they will and set in the winter. And somewhere in here, don't know whether you'll see that, that is where the growth point was. Hibernaculum, it's sort of going down to, I don't know whether they actually have a true hibernaculum like a lot of the other ones do, but they'll come back from the roots. So you can, again, if you want to, you can just gently sort of ease these off. And a lot of times they'll just pull off. If you're having to pull too hard, then you might end up actually taking the plant off out of the ground, which you don't want to do. So I just gently go around, just to tidy them up. Again, to stop, let me just throw this out somewhere, to stop the growth from actually sort of rotting on the surface. We've still got a few Venus sundews, so this is just normal Cape sundew capensis. Again, these are temperate and they will die back if they get frosted. But at the moment they're actually doing okay, so I'm going to leave those ones. If it's really hard frost, I might bring them into a slightly more protected and sheltered area. But otherwise they tend to do pretty well. They pretty much always come back from the roots if they do get frosted. I find these actually pretty hardy. And you'll see from I think a previous short or a previous video, 1 year, pretty much every single one of these just rotted down to the ground. And I lost a few come spring, but not significant. So behind the chilies here, we've got another tray of little pitcher plants. Again, so that's another rubra cross, which is still looking really beautiful. I really like this one. I think that's a rubra Chelsoni cross, and I think Chelsoni is also a rubra cross, so it's a bit incestuous, that one. Behind all the chilies, got some really quite big chilies here. That's Rocoto pubescent, which is really quite nice. It's got furry leaves, which I quite like. And we've got a few of my other sundews back here. These are looking a little bit more bedraggled. So again, at some point I shall probably dig these out and just tidy up some of those leaves that have died off. Just to stop them rotting. Although in the greenhouse, I don't get too much damp on top, so it doesn't always rot, but I just like to give them a bit of a tidy up and everything. So again, okay, there's another my rubras. Still, that's a trap from possibly a fairly late season trap, but it still kept its colours really nicely. So that's sort of what's going on in the greenhouse. Not a great deal really. Again, ones like Ophelia here, one of the first to go dormant, and now well and truly up with its non-carnivorous leaves there. And again, we've got a few others here that produce non-carnivorous leaves. So if you see these, certainly late in the season, don't worry that your plant has suddenly stopped producing carnivorous leaves. This is perfectly normal. So there you go. That's what everything's looking like at the moment. Like I say, it's all looking a bit sad because all the beautiful colours are no longer around and all the beautiful pictures are not really there anymore. Although even some of them, like this Gisatit sopa, you can still see the red there. Again, this one tends to stay a little, hold on to its pictures a little bit longer than a lot of them do. And the beautiful colours there, but they will gradually fade. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed a quick trip around the greenhouse. I will do another one at some point. Maybe I plant on the patio, which is again looking a bit bedraggled because that's been outside. But there you go. Everything's looking, like I say, a bit bedraggled, but that's what happens in winter. This is perfectly normal, and even though everything looks really tatty, come spring, you'll be greeted with a beautiful show of new traps and flowers, and it'll all look beautiful again.